Have you ever temporarily wanted to make your hair disappear? Well, you have stumbled upon the right video. So a year ago, I posted this robot special effects makeup look, and I'm bald in the makeup look. And although I did cover the application of the bald caps are such a finicky process and honestly deserve their whole video. And since so many of you guys were asking about the process, I thought I would do an in-depth video on how to apply a bald cap. Let's get bald. Okay, the first step, you wanna make sure that there's no knots in your hair. So give your hair a quick brush through, get it nice and smoothed out. You wanna take a bit of water and dampen the hair. Basically, the goal with this is to get your hair as slicked back and as smooth as possible. And this is how we're doing it. Now you do want to make sure that your skin is completely free of any oil. So I'm just taking a bit of witch hazel on a cotton round, and I'm just wiping that free. But yeah, you just want to make sure you have no moisturizer or anything like that that could potentially interfere with the adhesive that we're going to be putting on. So just make sure you're nice and clean. Then we're going to take a super strong hold hair gel, and we're just going to slick that all back. You want to make sure there's no bumps, and I have fairly thick hair, so I really spent a good amount of time really smoothing that out and combing it through. And if you or your actor or whoever you're applying this to does have a lot of hair, you're gonna wanna put it in a low pony right at the nape of the neck. Realistically, if you ever see someone in a movie that has a bald cap on that you know has a lot of hair, they're most likely gonna be wearing some wardrobe with either like a high collar or be wearing a scarf to kind of hide the tail of hair at the back of the head, because you don't really wanna be stuffing that under the bald cap because it'll make lumps and make your head shape look really weird. So unless you have short hair, you can't really do that. So you wanna do a nice little low pony at the back. Okay, next up, you're gonna wanna grab your bald cap. Now, I prefer to use Jaclyn bald caps. I think they are the best. They are the industry standard. It's what you're gonna be seeing in movies and film. And there are latex bald caps, which are a bit cheaper, but honestly, they do not, they don't look as good. So I prefer to use these ones. So what you wanna do is take a hair dryer and on a warm setting, just kind of like loosen it up and blow some air into it. And that'll get rid of any creases and also just kind of get it ready to go onto your head. And then basically you just kind of wanna shove your head in the bald cap. And these things are pretty large. I mean, I have a huge head and there's still so much excess you can see. So what you want to do is basically cut away any excess just so you can kind of begin working. So I'm just taking a little lip liner here and just like roughly marking away the areas that I for sure know that I can cut away. And I'm just taking some safety scissors. Make sure you don't cut your eyeballs off because we are working with a delicate area here. Next up, it is time for some prosthetic adhesive. You could honestly use whatever adhesive you like for prosthetics. You could do the Beta Bond, you could do Prozade. I'm pretty sure for this video I use Prozade, but again, totally preference. So you wanna take a little bit of that on a Q-tip and then basically create an anchor point. So I'm putting some on my skin as well as on the bald cap, and then with the hair dryer, I'm just gonna dry that until it goes clear, and that'll make sure that it's nice and tacky and ready to press down. And when you are pressing down the bald cap, obviously you wanna make sure that there's no wrinkles or creping or anything like that. You don't want it to be pulled weird. You want to get it as flat and laid down as good as you can, obviously. It sounds pretty simple, but honestly, it can be a bit tricky. Ideally, when you are doing this, you would have a makeup artist doing this, or you'd have an assistant. It can be like a two-person job, but it is possible to do on your own, but it definitely is very tricky, especially when you're getting around the ears and areas like that. But honestly, slow and steady wins the race, so just take your time. This honestly can take like up to 45 minutes. Okay, so the ears tend to be the trickiest part and basically like the biggest giveaway if done incorrectly. So what I find, especially when doing it on myself, is to make a little hole. So I actually have some acetone on my Q-tip, and that kind of burns away the plastic. And then I pop my ear through, and that just kind of makes sure that everything is laying down properly, and again, that there's no pulling. So again, take your time. Don't be afraid to really enjoy the process. So basically what you're gonna do now with the rest of the acetone is blend away all the edges. Now this is a very essential part to the bald cap, and basically is what makes it look so realistic, and this is why I love using Jaclyn bald caps, because they blend so well. So taking a cotton bud saturated in the acetone, you wanna slowly blend away the bald cap, and you basically wanna create a really gradual slope from the bald cap to your skin, and this is what's gonna create a beautiful, undetectable edge. And ooh, this just really gets me going. It's so exciting. I just love a beautifully blended bald cap. It is one of those simple pleasures in life. Now, obviously acetone is quite intense and it can make your skin red or irritated, so just be mindful when you're using it. I mean, don't drip it in your eyes. That would be so painful. Around the ear, again, you wanna be nice and careful, and this is it. We're looking bald. Okay, next up, you wanna take some translucent powder. It doesn't have to be anything expensive or anything fancy. Whatever translucent loose powder you have will do. Take a little bit of that on a powder puff, and you just really wanna set the bald cap in place. This will make sure there's no like glue, and it won't stick together, and it won't act crazy, especially around the ears. This is really important because some glue can kind of collect on your skin, and this just makes sure that everything is not tacky and good to go for the coloring. Ooh, baby, we are getting to the fun part. Okay, so I'm taking some rubber mask grease paints, and I'm picking a color very similar in undertone to my skin tone, which is more of like a yellowy kind of color. So I'm taking that on a makeup sponge, and I'm just putting that all over the bald cap. Now this is gonna be the underpainting layer. This is gonna kind of set the tone and be a really good base before we get into the specific color corrections and making it completely blend in. You wanna set that really well with some powder as well. One thing I did wanna flag is that if you are using a latex bald cap, you wanna be using Pax paints instead of grease paints because the grease can break down the latex. But if you're using the Jaclyn bald cap, you're good to go. Wow, this really sounds like this is an ad for Jaclyn bald caps. It's not, but I wish it was. To the people that make the bald caps, you know how to contact me. Reach out. That would be a hilarious sponsor. I'm just like bald in every video from now on. Oh, okay, now if there's one product that makes my makeup artist heart sing, it is these alcohol activated palettes. They look so underwhelming. I know, they look messy, they look boring, but these are incredible, especially for any special effects makeup. I find me reaching for these all the time. So these are only activated by alcohol, which means they're gonna wear really well, especially if you are doing, you know, a film and TV show, you need this to last all day. It's just, they're incredible. So I have a bunch of old makeup brushes and paint brushes that I just get like cheap ones from the craft store, and I like to use a chip brush, and I kind of do like a splatter technique all over the bald cap. So what you're gonna do is saturate your brush in the alcohol activated paints, and then like with your thumb you kind of like flick it onto your skin. And I'm just using a varying collection of skin tones, light flesh tones, some red correctors, some greens, some blues, some yellows. If you think about skin, it's not ever just one color. It has so many different, you know, layers to it, different dimensions, and you want it to look lifelike. The beauty of these alcohol activated paints is that they are translucent and that you can kind of build them up. So they look like skin and they look so realistic, it's mind-blowing. And again, don't be afraid to take your time with this. Honestly, the coloring is one of the most important steps, and I can spend like an hour just coloring a bald cap. And it's one of those things that when you see a good bald cap, you just look bald, and it's kind of, you know, underwhelming because it looks normal. But if you see a bad bald cap, it's so noticeable. The coloring will be off, you can see the edges. And honestly, bald caps are a lot harder to do than they look. So really spend your time looking at your own skin tones. I could tell in my face, I get a lot more pink and a bit more redness. So I'm just kind of blending and adding those colors in. And you really just want to slowly build that up in layers. And there really is an art to it. So don't be afraid to take your sweet old time doing it. Then when you finally are happy with the color, I'm pretty sure this one took me I don't know, it took me too long. But when you're happy with it, you do want to do a final set with some powder and just put some translucent powder generously all over the entire makeup. And this bald cap will last you forever. It'll be a full day for sure. You can sweat in it, you can move in it, and you look super bald, which is the desired effect. So there we go. There is the finished bald cap application. It's so funny seeing yourself completely bald when you're used to seeing a full head of hair, but it's so believable. It moves around really well. It wears amazing, and this is the way the professionals do it for on camera. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little tutorial. Let me know if you guys have any questions down below. I'll do my best to kind of moderate the comments and answer any questions that you guys have. But yeah, I hope this video helped you out. Make sure you guys send me pictures of your finished bald cap makeup and what you use this for. I would love to see it. And yeah, happy balding. I'll see you guys very soon. Bye.